Every month the money comes in, and every month it goes away. It doesn't matter if it's little or a lot. For most people, the script repeats itself. Work, receive, pay bills, buy some things they deserve, and move on with life. When they realize it, the money is gone. It's at this moment that the most common idea emerges, and the most dangerous. If I earned more, everything would be different. Robert Kiyosaki states that this is the biggest illusion about money. According to him, salary doesn't create wealth. On the contrary, when a person doesn't have financial intelligence, the more they earn, the more they spend. The money comes in, passes through their hands, and disappears without leaving anything built for the future. Kiyosaki teaches something simple, but that almost nobody accepts to hear. Wealth doesn't come from excessive effort. It comes from the right decisions. It's not working more hours. It's deciding better the destination of each reel. While most people use money only to sustain a lifestyle, rich people use money as a tool. They make money work for them, even when they're sleeping. This is the difference between living chasing after things and building freedom. And that's exactly why, in Robert Kiyosaki's view, getting rich starts by not buying certain things. Before thinking about earning more, you need to stop feeding habits that keep money always leaving your pocket. This is one of the most expensive mistakes in many people's financial lives, and also one of the most silent. The person buys something believing they're investing, when in reality they're taking on a new bill to pay every month. Robert Kiyosaki explains this directly. An asset is everything that puts money in your pocket. A liability is everything that takes money out of your pocket. It doesn't matter how much the item cost, nor how beautiful, desired, or admired by others it is. If at the end of the month it only generates expenses, it's not working for you. Many people believe that an expensive house automatically means wealth, but if that house requires high installments, taxes, constant maintenance, and doesn't generate income, it doesn't increase your freedom. It increases your dependence on salary. The same happens with new cars, changed before necessary, that lose value quickly and require insurance, financing, and maintenance. The problem isn't in having a good house or comfortable car. The problem is buying these things too early, before building assets that pay for them. When a person does this, they spend years working not to get rich, but only to sustain choices from the past. In Kiyosaki's view, rich people do the opposite path. First, they build assets that generate cash flow. Then, they use that money to pay for comfort, quality of life, and, if they want, luxury. This way, wealth grows instead of draining financial energy every month. The mistake isn't in the object purchased. The mistake is in the illusion of believing that owning something expensive means being closer to wealth, when in practice, this may be pushing the person even further into the rat race. If this video is making sense to you, like it now and subscribe to the channel. This helps a lot to get the content to more people who also want to change their financial lives. And tell me something, do you believe that 2026 can be the year when you'll finally get out of the rat race and start building real freedom? If you believe, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on this journey. One of the most dangerous traps for those who want to grow financially is spending money trying to prove something to others. Robert Kiyosaki explains that many people don't buy because they need to. They buy because they want to be seen in a certain way. And this type of decision costs dearly over time. The logic is simple. When you buy to impress, you work to sustain an image, not to build wealth. Clothes, cars, cell phones, and lifestyles bought to generate approval end up transforming into a silent prison. The person feels obligated to maintain a standard that requires more and more money, more effort, and more time. In the rat race, the thinking is always the same. When I improve my life, then I'll invest. Rich people think the opposite. They invest first, build income, and only then allow comfort to enter their lives. Luxury, when it comes, is paid for by the money from assets, not by the direct sweat of work. Kiyosaki makes it clear that there's nothing wrong with liking good things. The mistake is in buying them too soon. When someone puts status above strategy, they end up sacrificing the future to feed the present. While many work to appear rich, the truly rich work in silence, focused on building something solid. They don't need the immediate approval of others because they're committed to a bigger goal, financial freedom. That's how you break the cycle. Not competing with people around you, but making choices that strengthen your future even when nobody is watching. For many people, buying a house is seen as the greatest sign of success in adult life. It's something taught from an early age. Work hard, save money, and achieve home ownership. Robert Kiyosaki doesn't say this dream is wrong, but warns that it can easily transform into a financial trap when it's misunderstood. The problem begins when the house is automatically treated as an asset. In practice, if it doesn't generate income, it doesn't put money in your pocket. On the contrary, it requires long installments, taxes, maintenance, renovations, fees, and bills that never end. Gradually, what seemed like security transforms into an obligation that ties the person to their salary for decades. Kiyosaki explains that when someone buys a house that's too big, too early, they trade freedom for immediate comfort. The person starts working not to grow, but to maintain that choice. Any unexpected event becomes fear because the bills keep coming, regardless of income. In his view, rich people usually follow another path. First, they build assets that generate cash flow, like businesses, investments, or properties that produce income. Only then do they use that money to buy the house where they want to live. This way, the home stops being a monthly burden and becomes paid for by the financial system the person built themselves. This doesn't mean nobody should buy a house. It only means that the timing of the purchase matters more than the purchase itself. When the house is acquired with strategy, it brings peace. When it's acquired by social pressure or emotion, it can become the biggest obstacle between the person and financial freedom. Understanding this completely changes the way you see money. The house stops being the final goal and becomes a consequence of intelligent financial decisions. One of the most common reasons why people work their whole lives without getting anywhere is the weight of bad debts. Robert Kiyosaki is direct when talking about this. Not all debt is equal, but most people only know the most destructive side of them. Credit card debts, long installments, and financing made on impulse seem harmless at first. The installment fits in the pocket, the desire is satisfied, and the feeling is of momentary relief. The problem appears with time. Interest works against you every day, while you need to work more and more to keep up with the bills. Kiyosaki explains that bad debt doesn't build anything. It doesn't generate income, doesn't create opportunities, and doesn't increase your financial capacity. On the contrary, it drains energy, steals choices, and traps the person in a cycle of salary dependence. The more debts of this type someone accumulates, the less freedom they have to decide their own future. In his view, debts only make sense when they help acquire assets that produce enough income to pay the debt itself and still leave a surplus. Beyond that, debt becomes an anchor. It prevents investments, blocks important decisions, and transforms any unexpected event into a crisis. While many people use credit to sustain a standard of living they can't yet afford, the rich use money with strategy. They avoid compromising the future for immediate pleasure because they understand that financial freedom doesn't go well with endless installments. Controlling bad debts isn't about living in fear of spending, but about respecting your own future. Each debt avoided is one more step to get out of the rat race and build a life with more choices and less pressure. Many people believe they're being financially responsible because they seek security above all. A stable job, a fixed salary, a retirement plan, and money sitting in the account seem sufficient to guarantee tranquility. Robert Kiyosaki warns that this feeling is often just a well-disguised illusion. According to him, relying only on salary and retirement is dangerous because these sources depend on factors you don't control. Changes in the economy, inflation, crises, and external decisions can slowly erode what seems secure. Money sitting still loses value over time, even when there's no visible bill being paid. Kiyosaki teaches that true security doesn't come from a single income stream, but from the ability to generate money in different ways. Financially intelligent people know how to adapt. They understand how money works and can create new sources when one of them weakens. While many try to protect money by avoiding risks, the rich learn to manage risks. They study, test, fail small, and adjust quickly. This ability is what allows them to go through difficult times without losing everything. Real security isn't in avoiding movement, but in developing enough financial intelligence to not depend on a single source. Those who understand this stop living in fear of the future and start building real protection based on knowledge, strategy, and adaptation. One of the biggest financial mistakes happens even before any purchase. It emerges when a person makes decisions about money without understanding how money works. Robert Kiyosaki reinforces that many people lose years of work simply because they never learned to think financially. Most people learn to earn money, but don't learn to manage it. They know how to work, keep schedules, and receive salary, but don't know how to evaluate risks, identify opportunities, or differentiate a good deal from a trap. Without this knowledge, any purchase becomes a guess. Kiyosaki calls financial education an invisible asset. It doesn't appear in the bank statement, but defines everything that happens with money throughout life. The more a person learns, the fewer expensive mistakes they make, and the more prepared they become to take advantage of good opportunities when they arise. Books, courses, and continuous learning aren't expenses. They're investments. They increase decision-making capacity and avoid losses that would cost much more in the future. Those who understand this stop repeating mistakes and start acting with strategy. Rich people prioritize learning before spending. They know that money without knowledge disappears quickly, while knowledge creates wealth even when money is scarce. It's this foundation that sustains solid financial decisions over time. Many financial decisions aren't born from logic, but from emotion. Robert Kiyosaki explains that emotional consumption is one of the main reasons why money never remains. The person doesn't buy because they need to. They buy because they're tired, frustrated, anxious, or wanting a quick reward. At the moment of purchase, everything seems small. An installment here, an expense there, an unmissable promotion. The problem is that these choices, repeated over time, create a pattern. Money starts leaving the pocket without planning, and the person loses control without realizing it. Kiyosaki teaches that financially intelligent people learn to pause before spending. They ask a simple question: will this bring me closer to or farther from financial freedom? This pause avoids decisions that bring immediate relief, but long-term regret. Emotional consumption keeps the person trapped in the present. Control of impulses allows building the future. It's not about living with extreme restrictions, but about consciously choosing where money will be used. When emotion stops commanding purchases, money begins to work with purpose. It's at this point that the person stops reacting to the moment and starts acting with long-term vision, strengthening their journey toward financial freedom. After understanding all this, Robert Kiyosaki's vision becomes clear and even uncomfortable for many. The difference between those who build wealth and those who always live tight isn't in luck, nor in salary, nor in profession. It's in the repeated choices every month. While most people use money only to pay bills, sustain habits, and relieve emotions, rich people use money as a construction tool. They avoid unnecessary expenses, control impulses, invest in knowledge, and direct each reel towards something that can grow in the future. Kiyosaki summarizes this simply: poor and middle class buy things that take money out of the pocket. Rich people buy assets that put money in the pocket. Over time, this difference widens. One side needs to work more and more to maintain the same standard. The other gains freedom, options, and tranquility. Stopping buying these things doesn't mean living poorly. It means postponing immediate gratifications to achieve something much greater. Control over your own time, less fear of the future, and more choices in life. In Robert Kiyosaki's view, getting out of the rat race doesn't happen all at once. It's a process built decision by decision. And it all starts when you change the way you see money and start using it to work in your favor every day. There's a moment that almost nobody notices, but that separates those who continue in the rat race from those who start to leave it. It's not when salary increases. It's not when a big opportunity arises. It's when the person makes a silent decision to stop repeating the same financial pattern as always. Robert Kiyosaki teaches that wealth is built in the invisible, long before it appears in the result. It's when someone decides to spend less than they earn, even being able to spend more. It's when they choose to learn, even being tired. It's when they prefer to build something small and consistent, instead of seeking quick shortcuts. Most people wait to feel ready to change. But according to Kiyosaki, those who wait for the perfect moment never start. Rich people act with what they have, learn along the way, and adjust decisions over time. This silent decision requires discipline because nobody applauds at the beginning. It doesn't generate immediate status, doesn't impress anyone, and often seems too slow. But it's exactly this consistency that creates solid results. Getting out of the rat race doesn't happen explosively. It happens when small decisions start pointing to the future and not just to the relief of the present. It's at this point that money stops being a constant problem and starts becoming a tool for building freedom. Robert Kiyosaki reinforces something that almost nobody calculates. When you make bad financial choices, you don't just lose money, you lose lifetime. Each unnecessary debt, each impulse expense, and each decision without strategy steals years that could be being used to build freedom. Many people spend decades working only to maintain financial commitments assumed in the past. They don't work to grow, they work to sustain old decisions. And time, unlike money, cannot be recovered later. Financially intelligent people think about the hidden cost of each choice. They don't just ask, how much does it cost? But how many years of my life will this cost me? This mindset change completely alters the way of consuming, investing, and planning the future. Kiyosaki teaches that assets don't just buy money, they buy time. The more assets someone builds, the less they need to exchange hours of life for income. It's at this point that true wealth begins to appear, when time starts working in your favor and not against you. Those who understand this stop postponing important decisions. They start small, but they start now, because each day lived without strategy is one less day of freedom in the future. There's a detail that Robert Kiyosaki always makes clear. Information alone doesn't transform anyone. What changes a person's financial life are daily habits, even the simplest ones, repeated for enough time. Many people watch videos, read books, and agree with everything, but continue making exactly the same choices. Money continues coming in and going out the same way. This happens because the habit hasn't changed. Without behavior change, there's no different result. People who build wealth create the habit of observing their own money. They know where it goes, analyze past decisions, and adjust the path. They don't do this once a year, they do it frequently. This constant monitoring avoids big mistakes and creates small victories over time. Kiyosaki teaches that you don't need to do something grand every day. You just need to do something conscious, a better decision today, another tomorrow, and so on. Over time, these small adjustments create an enormous difference between those who just consume content and those who actually change their lives. It's this daily habit, almost invisible, that transforms knowledge into financial freedom. A common mistake of those who start learning about money is wanting quick results. Robert Kiyosaki warns that this hurry makes many people fall into traps, easy promises and bad decisions. Those who are in a hurry pay dearly for the illusion of quick gain. Building wealth is a cumulative process. At the beginning, results seem small and even discouraging. It's precisely at this stage that most people give up, because they still think like someone who lives to paycheck. Rich people think in long cycles, not in immediate gains. Kiyosaki teaches that time is a powerful ally when you have strategy. Well-chosen assets grow, strengthen, and create a multiplier effect. But this only happens when the person allows the process to mature, without jumping from one idea to another. While many seek shortcuts, those who build wealth accept the path. They learn, adjust, fail small, and continue. This patience creates a solid foundation that doesn't depend on luck, fads, or empty promises. Wealth isn't about speed. It's about consistency, and those who understand this start making calmer, more intelligent, and much more effective decisions over time. Robert Kiyosaki always reinforces that the greatest cost of postponing financial decisions doesn't appear in the present, but in the future. When a person pushes important choices to later, they're transferring the weight to the coming years of their own life. Many say, "I'll start later. When I earn more, I'll change. Now is not the time." The problem is that time passes the same way. Bills continue, inflation acts in silence, and opportunities don't wait. The later someone decides to change the way they deal with money, the harder it becomes to recover lost ground. People who build wealth understand this early. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They start with what they have, even if small. They adjust along the way and learn from mistakes. Each anticipated decision reduces future suffering. Kiyosaki teaches that discipline today avoids sacrifice tomorrow. Those who make conscious financial decisions now create a lighter path ahead. Those who postpone end up paying with stress, dependence, and lack of choices. In the end, it's not about having everything resolved quickly. It's about choosing as soon as possible to leave autopilot and take control of your own money. This decision, when made early, completely changes a person's financial destiny. After all this, Robert Kiyosaki's message becomes simple and direct. Nobody gets stuck in the rat race for lack of money, but for lack of decision. Most people work hard, but continue repeating the same financial patterns every month without realizing that it's these small choices that shape the future. Getting out of this cycle doesn't require a big stroke of luck nor an extraordinary salary. It requires awareness. It requires stopping buying what only generates expenses, controlling impulses, avoiding debts that drain energy, investing in knowledge, and allowing money to start working in your favor. Each financial decision is a vote for the type of life you want to lead. When you choose to think long-term, money stops being a constant source of worry and becomes a construction tool. That's how freedom begins, in a silent, consistent, and real way. If this video made sense to you, like it now. This simple gesture helps the channel grow and brings this message to more people who also want to get out of the rat race and build a better financial future.